What's going on, people, places, and things? This is your Pokemon YouTube channel, Poke Arena, bringing you some more Pokemon trading card game online content. Today we're going to be playing Dragapult VMAX, and with Dragapult VMAX we have the beautiful and lovely attack called Max Phantom. For 2 Psychic Energy, do 130 damage to your active, and then put 5 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. With this we're going to be comboing with the Pokemon Gengar from Sword and Shield. This Gengar has the ability Life Shaker. As often as you like during your turn, you may move 1 damage counter from one of your Psychic Pokemon to another one of your Psychic Pokemon. This is really cool because you're able to move damage counters onto Pokemon like Lunala Prism Star, who is a basic that has 160 HP, and let's say Dragapult gets dealt 150 damage. Move all the damage counters to Lunala, leaving it on 10 damage left, and then using Scoop Up Net to get rid of all those damage counters from our side of the field. This can be comboed with higher attacks like picking it up and putting it back down, and then putting all the damage counters back onto Lunala and leaving it like that. And we have different other techs into this deck to make this deck work, like Zacian. The reason we use Zacian is because we like to go first, and if we have Zacian on the field, we're able to draw more cards so that we can get our Gastly and evolve it into Gengar using Rare Candy. Then we play 2 copies of Power Plant to disrupt our opponent from playing any sort of Dedennes. I used to have a Dedenne in this deck, but I found that I just wasn't able to get Dead Exchange off, especially with Power Plant in play. So with that, we definitely have to have 4 Mysterious Treasures to search out our Psychic Pokemon, and then 4 Quick Balls to search out our basics, especially Zacian. With that, we only play 3 Rare Candies. We did this so that we have more space for energy, just in case we want to use Lunala's first attack, which basically attaches Psychic Energy from your discard pile to your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play. This can get up a Dragapult VMAX up and running if need be, if in case one of them gets knocked out. I used to play in BD V in this deck, but again, I don't like having a lot of 2-risers on the bench because of the gustability in today's format. But speaking of the gustability in today's format, we do play 2 Boss's Orders. I chose to play 2 Boss's Orders instead of doing 1 Boss, 1 Great Catcher. This is because we don't really want to discard a lot of our hand, and that is why we don't play any researches. But for our draw support, we do play a Cynthia, or 4 Cynthias I should say. We do play 4 Marnies, and then we do play the 1 Mallow Lana. We did play the 1 Mallow Lana. Like I said, we do play the 1 Mallow Lana, and with that, we are able to heal 120 from the bench, and then switch back up with things like U-turn board and switch. And the reason I play 1 copy of switch instead of 1 copy of U-turn board instead of 4 copies of switch is because I like to have the ability to bring U-turn board back to the field of play. And it says if this card is discarded from play, put it into your hand instead of the discard pile. So this is our deck list. We're going to be jumping into a couple ladder matches in the versus mode in the PTCGO. And with that, if you have any comments, questions, please make sure to put them down below. And let's jump into a game. So we jump into our first versus game, and it looks like we do have a possible mirror match. We will see though, because it could be a combo. Actually, no, it couldn't be combozation because it's not playing Oranguru. So I have no idea. But we are going to take the first turn because we like to Intrepid Sword. We like to have our Dragapults on the field. It's looking like we can Intrepid Sword here. We might not though, because we might get a Gastly up. We're going to see what we draw. So we do grab the Power Plant. We're going to end up putting the Power Plant down. We're going to put a Psychic Energy there. And then what we're going to do here is Quick Ball away the Scoop Up Net, even though we don't like to. We're going to see if we have the Zacian. We do have the Zacian, and might as well put it onto the field, just so we can get 3 more cards into our hand before we Cynthia. And just like that, we get a U-turn board, which is nice, and a quick ball, which we're able to get a Gastly up if need be. So our opponent's playing a Copperajah VMAX deck, which is very interesting because Copperajah can take so many hits and is so bulky. It has the attack rack down on the base card, but we're going to see probably the VMAX more often, and I know the first attack does 100 more, 100 plus 100 more I should say, on basic Pokemon, and then I think the other attack is called Heavy VMAX, which does 240 damage. So we see here that we can evolve our Dragapult, which we're going to do. We're going to U-turn board the Dragapult V. Then we're going to quick ball away a rare candy, grab ourselves a Gastly, put down Lunala onto the bench, and then we're going to Cynthia. Grab ourselves as many cards as we can. We do end up getting the energy there, so that is great. What we're going to do here as well is Mysterious Treasure away the Cynthia and grab ourselves a Haunter, because we're going to be able to evolve it next turn, and now we can just max Phantom and attack and deal 5 damage. Actually, not at all, because our opponent's playing Metal Goggles, and this prevents opponent's attacks and abilities from putting any damage counters onto that Pokemon. So it looks like we're gonna get altered, or not altered creation, that'd be insane. We're gonna get full Metal Wall GX here, I assume. But he just does pass. We're gonna Boss's Order up the Lucario Melmetal. We're gonna evolve our Gastly. Then what we're going to do here is place a Psychic Energy onto there, and we're going to max Phantom and do as much damage as we can while chipping away at the Copperajah VMAX. It looks like our opponent isn't drawing much into anything. He's going to Cyrus here, which is very interesting. So I'm going to have to get rid of... choose 2 bench Pokemon to keep. So we're going to keep the Dragapult V, and we're going to keep the Haunter here, which I don't mind doing at all. And he's just going to pass. So with that, we're going to get a Boss's Order. Do we knock out? I don't think we do just quite yet. So what we're going to do here is just save our cards in hand. We're going to max Phantom and do as much damage as we can onto the Copperajah VMAX. And with that now, we should knock out, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, we still need to do a little bit more. So he's going to Full Metal Wall GX, which is unfortunate. It is what it is, though. But we do get the Horror Energy here. I am regretting not putting the U-turn board onto Dragapult VMAX, but with that, we're just going to Marnie here. We do get the switch. We do get our Zacian back, which is nice. We're going to put down Zacian onto the bench. We're going to evolve our Gengar. And then we're going to switch into Dragapult V and do Jet Assault for as much damage as we can, doing 60 damage there. This steel deck is very bulky, which does counter against our low damage compared to what other Pokemon like a Zacian could do. But we're going to see what he's able to do here. I think we are preventing him a lot from grabbing those Dedennes with the Power Plant. But it is what it is. He's going to draw a whole new hand of 7. Quick ball away something to grab a basic. He's going to grab a Dedenne, but I don't know if he realizes that the Power Plant is up. But he's going to Metal Saucer. He might have a Stadium in hand, which we will have to see here. He does attach per turn, and then he realizes that womp womp, he can't Dedenne. I'm going to say, well played there. I'm such a meanie. He's not happy with that even a little bit, and with that he quits. So let's jump into our next match, and hopefully we can show off the Life Shaker ability just a little bit more. On to our next match. It's looking like we have a ADP deck list, if I had to assume. We're going to go for the Tails, because Tails never fails. Except when we get heads. But we're going to go first. That's going to prevent him from getting off water energy onto his ADP. We're going to end up discarding the Gastly from our hand, it looks like. But it all depends on what we can get, because we definitely want the first turn attachment. So we're going to have to see here what happens. So it looks like he's playing Zamazenta, which is very nice. We're going to quick ball away the Gastly, because we want that Zacian to draw more into our hand. We're going to put an energy on the Dragapult V, and then we're going to Intrepid Sword here. And we end up getting a Dragapult V, a Lunala, and a Scoop of Net, which is nice. It's not exactly what we would have loved, but we can definitely get off an attack onto that Zamazenta V if he decides to go into the active position. So he's going to quick ball here. He's going to get rid of a Steel Energy, definitely try to get that second turn going first, going second first turn Altered Creation off, if I had to assume. He's going to grab the Dedenne. Unfortunately, we didn't have a power plant in hand to play. He's going to switch into the Jirachi, play the Dedenne, and then discard another Steel Energy and a Tool Scrapper. Let's see what he does from here on out. He definitely grabs the Metal Frying Pan, which is really nice. It's unfortunate that he has his Zamazenta out so early, but I think we might end up evolving and dealing some damage, but I'm not quite sure yet. But it looks like here he's gonna end up switching out. He's gonna Professors. He's getting rid of a excuse me. He's getting rid of a lot of Steel Energy in the beginning. I assume he's really trying to Metal Saucer onto his Pokemon to be able to attack. He's going to quick ball away the Energy Spinner, which is interesting. I'm curious to see if he has a Water Energy in hand. There is the ADP though. He puts down the ADP. He grabs another Energy Spinner, so I assume he's going to grab the Water. Grabs a Water, Steel and a Water. Attaches the Water per turn. Stellar Wishes. And like that, he's already gone through more than half of his deck, which is quite incredible, honestly. He's seen so many cards this turn, and he's going to Chaotic Swell, which is going to prevent us from putting down our power plants. But it's no worries, because he didn't get the Ultra Creation off, and he's going to Intrepid Sword there and not get any energy onto the Zacian. So we do have a Marnie. We're going to attach an energy onto Dragapult. We're going to end up evolving the Dragapult, putting down the Dragapult V, putting down the Lunala, scoop up netting the Gastly, promoting our Dragapult VMAX, putting down the Gastly, and saying bye-bye to his hand and just Marnieing him. Very interesting hand to get. We're definitely gonna get rid of that Chaotic Swell. We can't attach any energy, but we're just going to Max Phantom, knock the Jirachi, and then put as many damage counters as we can onto the Zamazenta, because we don't want to be getting him up in the active doing a lot of shenanigans. If we do get another 4 or 5 damage counters on, we will be able to do what we can to be able to knock him out with a Jet Assault from Dragapult. It does Metal Saucer onto the Zamazenta. It's good that we don't have any special energy right now, because if we did, then they would get discarded from that attack. But he's going to grab another Professors. He actually, I don't think, plays Oranguru in this deck, which is interesting, because that's a combo that I like doing, because he'd be able to get that. But with that, he is just gonna Ultra Creation, and now we're gonna evolve and show off Gengar a little bit. So we're going to attach an energy to Dragapult. Then we're gonna discard this Dragapult. And we're gonna be grabbing a Mewtwo, if I'm not mistaken, because we want to grab that Marnie back into our hand. So we're gonna grab the Mewtwo, putting the Marnie down, back into our deck, on top, and then we're going to Max Phantom and deal. So let me do some math here. He already takes 30 less. We need to deal I'm just going to put all 50 here just in case. Because if I'm not mistaken, he takes 30 less, so we need to deal 160 more. And we won't get that with the Max Phantom. But he's going to add a energy onto the Arceus Dragapult, and now he's going to do 180 to our Dragapult VMAX. So, now that we have this going for us, it's going to attach the energies onto Zamazenta. And this is where we get to show this deck off and running. So, first, before anything, we're going to Marnie. With that Marnie, we bring him down lower. We can attach onto Dragapult. We're going to attach our U-turn board onto Dragapult VMAX. And now we are going to Life Shaker. So with Life Shaker, like I said, we can move it and put it onto our Lunala. And this is the beautiful part of this deck, where it makes our opponent rage a lot of the time. But now we can just move all of our damage counters from Dragapult VMAX onto our Lunala Prism Star, but we're actually only going to move 150 of it. The reason we're only going to move 150 is because we don't want it getting knocked out and him taking a prize, but this keeps our Dragapult VMAX very healthy. Just a couple more. And then for the rest of the damage counters, we're actually going to put it on our Gengar, because we don't usually scoop up net our Gengar, and if he were to boss's order up anything anyways, all that damage wouldn't really matter that's on it. So we're going to end it there. We're going to Mysterious Treasure nothing away actually. We're just going to keep it like that. Then we're going to Max Phantom. Deal that, and now this is where I need to do some math. So 140 would, so it'd be 110, and that would leave it at 220. So we're gonna have to do, I think, 2 damage counters here. Then we're gonna deal 3 damage counters onto the Dene, and that should knock it out with a Jet Assault from our Dragapult, if I'm not mistaken. But it should do that. He's gonna Cherish Ball. I assume he's gonna grab it to Dene, as always. He's definitely looking for those Metal Saucers. And what's interesting here is if he decides to retreat and put up the Zamazenta, we're gonna be able to really win the game here, because we'll put 2 damage counters onto the Arceus Dragapult. Well, actually, I take that back, because we won't be able to put the damage counters because we'll have to Jet Assault. But I think with that, we definitely can have the opt to win this match doing that. He's going to Metal Saucer, because he's not going to have anything to really deal 320 damage to my Dragapult VMAX, and he hasn't even taken a single prize yet. But our opponent's still trudging on. He does put a damage counter onto the Lunala to knock it out, which I was afraid of. But that being said, it could have happened if I put 2 or anything, and that's just the unfortunateness of not having the scoop up net. And like I said, he did have the scoop up net there, so it is what it is with that. And he's going to end up putting a damage counter onto our Dragapult V. which is interesting because he already altered creation and he can get a knockout with that. But I'm curious to see if he has bosses in hand to be able to keep doing that. But nope, he just researches. Another great thing with not playing Dedenne is to not have that great catcher affect us in this deck. Our opponent's really thinking here. He is not knowing what to do even a little bit, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. But definitely make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the channel and the content we have been doing so far. And let's do a little question of the day before he attacks us for 160 damage. If you had to choose which deck I could play on the channel next, what deck would you like to see? That should be the question of the day. So what deck would you like to see me play next on this channel? So he's going to deal 160. What we're going to do here is, in fact, well, now that we get the bosses, we can actually just bosses order up the Dedenne. Give him the little heart. Give him Max Phantom. And deal the rest of the damage onto RC's Dragapult, and that's going to be a win for the day, taking 5 prizes at a time, which is just insanity. And we didn't even have to heal off the damage that time, but it definitely saved us from getting knocked out, so thank you, Gengar. And let's go on to one last match to just showcase this deck off a little bit more. So we end up getting Tails on this side of the match, and we're on to our next match. And now we are going to go first. So we've gotten very lucky playing these couple games, being able to go first. I'm trying to think here. I think we're gonna put up the Lunala here because we want to keep our Gastly on the bench, especially having the rare candy. But we're gonna Dragapult here. We're gonna press done. And now we're going to see what we can do. So yes, so this is great. We're just going to attach the energy there and wait to see what happens. But I assume our opponent's going to be doing a lot of different stuff today. And he actually ends up playing the metal goggles, which is honestly quite amazing. But that is just so unfortunate because he gets the crushing hammer's heads. And now we're going to have to kind of sit back and see what we can do with this. So what I'm going to do here actually is scoop up the Lunala. We're going to move up our Dragapult V. We're going to place down our Lunala. And we're just going to shred for 60. The reason we're doing this is because we can deal that 60 damage without the effects of his metal goggles, but just like that, we get another energy into the discard pile, which is really unfortunate. And sometimes luck happens in this game. We get unlucky, and it is what it is, but that's part of the PTCGO sometimes. He's got some beautiful versions of Metal Saucer and Tool Scrapper. He's going to Primate Wisdom. He's going to be able to do 230 damage, but I'm really hoping for a Gengar or a Mysterious Treasure here to heal off almost all this damage. But instead we just get the Marnie. So we're going to have to do what we have to do and Marnie here. So we get the Marnie. We're going to place down the Dragapult. We're going to place down an energy here. Quick ball away the Cynthia. Because what we're going to do now is we prize our Zacian, which is lovely. We're going to grab a Giratinia, which is just unfortunate. Then we're going to Mewtwo away, put it onto our bench, and grab ourselves a Marnie, because he's going to knock out our Dragapult V, which is just unfortunate. But it is what it is when you get the 2 successful crushing hammers. Luck is not on our side in this match. But, you know, this does show how much of a pain it can be to not get what we need in our starting hands, especially getting our Zacian prize. But we actually end up getting another heads off that crushing hammer, which just sucks. But if we do get an energy off, we're going to be able to grab those 2 energies and put them onto Dragapult V with the full moon star attack. So I'm really hoping that that happens. But we're just going to have to see what happens here. He ends up getting a switch. So if he gets another scoop of net and a skateboard, he's going to be looking good. He grabs the quick ball, which is very interesting because it looks like he's not playing the Dene at all, and he's just going to Intrepid Sword. So this is a very interesting Zacian build. So what we're going to do here is we're going to quick ball away the quick ball. We're going to grab ourselves a Giratinia. And I know we can't discard it, but we're just going to put it onto the bench for more outs to healing. And with this, we're going to Marnie our opponent. I'm really hoping to grab anything, but we don't really get it. We're going to we're going to Psychic Energy here. And we're just going to allow our opponent to be able to knock out, because if we can catch up with our prizes with the healing of the power of Gengar's Life Shaker ability. But again, we're gonna have to see what happens. Our opponent ends up Professor Nanessa V5 Professor Boss's orders, which is not good. I'm curious to see what he does with that boss's order on his next turn. But he actually plays Lucario and Melmetal. So this deck really likes to get rid of energy quite a bit. He's gonna put the Metal Saucer there. He's gonna put a Metal Frying Pan there. He's gonna switch up and knock our Dragapult VMAX. First, he's going to Crushing Hammer, fail it, which is good. And now we're going to have to see what happens here. We do have a Marnie in our hand to get rid of all of those prizes that he takes. But now we're going to put up the Lunala. We're going to put a Horror Energy on. We're going to evolve our Dragapult. And then we're going to Marnie away, which is a good Marnie because we don't need those power plants. And it looks like we're able to evolve our Gastlys, which we're going to do. And now since he has 3 Pokemon here, we're going to full Moonstar and then just put all the energy onto Dragapult and hope for the best. It is really unfortunate that we're possibly going to get all that energy discarded. Our opponent's played this deck very well. But he's going to switch into the Giratinia, I assume. Stellar Wish away. He grabs the Great Catcher, which he's not going to be able to use, so I'm curious if he had any other outs. Definitely curious to see what he does here. He's going to end up Primate Wisdoming. I'm curious if he's having trouble finding another Metal Energy. And we'll just have to see what our opponent does. He could switch and knock out the Lunala, which he's definitely going to do. And he's just going to Brave Blade here. And it's not looking great for us, but now we can promote our Dragapult V. And we're gonna attach an energy onto Haunter here. The reason being is if we have to, we're going to be able to switch and do as much things as we can. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of our energies already out on the field. Never mind the amount that could be prized right now. But we're just gonna max Phantom, put 2 here, 2 here, and 1 here. And just see what our opponent does. It's gonna Mallow and Lana, heal off all that type of stuff. I'm really prepared to get rid of all my energy onto this Dragapult VMAX, which is just not what we want at all, even a little bit. Because now we have no other outs to be getting that back, and he also has 1 more Crushing Hammer, I believe. Oh no, he's actually used all his Crushing Hammers. So this is a very interesting game. Very slow game, but it is what it is. We're going to have to see what our opponent does. And he's going to Brave Blade, 4-2-30. It's going to get damage dealt to him. And now we're going to have to see what we do here. So, what we're going to have to do here is Mallow and Lana and switch these Pokemon here into the Haunter. We're going to have to retreat the Haunter. And 230 does knock us out, which is just unfortunate. We have nothing we can really do but max Phantom. We're going to get rid of the Giratinia here, so he doesn't have any way to retreat back in. And we got to pray we get something nice here. We do get the Zacian. We possibly might be able to use that Zacian, but I'm afraid that with his boss's orders, like he only has 1 in the discard pile. I assume he plays more than that. But we really just have to see what happens here. That Mallow and Lana really saved him a lot. He's going to switch up into what I assume would be Lucario Melmetal. He's going to put the Metal Goggles, and he's just going to Intrepid Sword. Very interesting. So, this is where we get saved. Now we're going to Life Shaker away all of this onto our Giratinia. And just really get rid of the damage that we have done here. I'm curious to see if he ends up getting another Steel Energy so that he can discard all that Steel Energy. But I really have to save my Horror Energies. I'm gonna be max Phantom here and then putting my damage counters onto the Oranguru. But it's all that I can do at the time being. So here we go. We're gonna see the full Metal Wall GX, getting rid of all the damage. But now I don't think he has any other outs to doing much. I really don't want to put a Zacian down, so we're just gonna Shred here. He's gonna resist it, but I'm just afraid that he's going to Boss's Order up the Zacian or the Dragapult V, and I can't have him doing that even a little bit. He's gonna Primate Wisdom. I'm curious to see what he does, but he's just gonna Steel Fist, and I assume put that on either back onto here or yeah, he's gonna put it back onto here. So now we can attach here, Life Shaker off all this damage. We're gonna put the 50 onto Mewtwo. I just am worried about any way that he can knock power Pokemon in boss's order of anything. But with that, we're just going to max Phantom, do as much damage as we can, and knock out the Oranguru here. Let's see what we get here. We really needed like a scoop up net or some sort of draw, but we're gonna have to see what happens here. He's gonna quick ball. He's gonna grab a Giratinia. Tool Scrapper would be really nice in this deck, and there is the Whirlpool Seduction, which I was afraid of, because now he can just boss's order up anything that he really wants. And there's a heavy impact, and I'm really now looking at the fact that he can boss's order up something to win the game. So here's my question. I'm just gonna do that Distortion Door, even though we can't place any damage counters, because it really doesn't matter what we do here. I'm going to max Phantom, give him a little frowny face because I know what he can do. It doesn't matter where I put these damage counters because I can't do anything. And I'm curious to see if he has the bosses. He's gonna quick ball. This game has been very interesting. He's gonna Fion. And I guess I could have put a Dragapult, but again, with that, it is what it is. And I'm just going to give him a well played, and we tried our best there, but we just didn't get the draws that we needed. But I really hope you enjoyed that match. It was definitely really fun to play, really showed off the healing abilities of our Pokemon. And, you know, sometimes we just don't get what we need, like our Zacian being prized so early. But if you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and answer the question of the day, which is, what deck would you like to see me play on this channel in the future? Thank you so much for watching. Peace out, my nouns.